Welcome back to the new session, sense organ. Today we are going to discuss about sense organ. Already you all learn about sense organs in lower classes. There are major 5 sense organs in our body. Before going to the sense organs, what way sense organs help us? Well, sense organs help us for the survival. All the human beings cannot survive without the aid of sense organs. They help us to survive on this earth. They help us to obtain food material from the environment, and they also help us. We enjoy the flavor of good food. What help us to enjoy the flavor of food? Again, the sense organs help us. Protection. They also protect us from so many dangerous stimuli that occurs in environment. For example, when you touch a hot object, you withdraw your hand. Here, who is helping here to withdraw your organs or your hands from the hot object? Again, the answer is the same sense organ. So sense organs help us to protection, and you enjoy the smell of flowers, smell of food material with the help of your sense organ. Nose play a very important role. You listen to the music, you listen to the sounds that are present in the nature. All these things are done with the help of the sense organs. Not only these things, they also help us to know about the world, what is happening in our environment. We pursue the things with the help of our sense organs, and we obtain knowledge. We appreciate the beauty of nature with the help of sense organs. They help us to watch so many things which are present in the nature and help us to appreciate the beauty of nature. So in these many ways, they help us. Sense organs help us in many ways. There are major 5 sense organs in our body: ears, eyes, nose, tongue, skin. All these sense organs are related or connected to the nervous system. Our nervous system is consists of brain and spinal cord. All the sense organs have connection to the important internal organ like brain and spinal cord via nerves. See, the information from the sense organs is sent to the brain or spinal cord, and we get the response from the brain or spinal cord to the appropriate organs, and the organs show response. For example, how the sensation takes place, let us discuss. Stimulus. Stimulus means any external change in the environment is called as stimulus. Any external change in the environment is called stimulus. Stimulus provokes response. When your body receives stimulus, you get response from the brain, and your organs act according to that response. So let us see how the sensation occurs in our body. First, you take stimulus. You are poking on a sharp object. What will happen when you are ready to poke on a sharp object? The sense organ eye will look into that sharp object and send the information in the form of nerve impulse to the brain or spinal cord. Immediately, there are the centers in the brain to receive the stimulus for particular stimulus. Here the stimulus of pain or stimulus of seeing, vision. So immediately there are certain areas called occipital lobes in the brain responds to the stimulus of vision, and immediately they send the information to the motor parts, especially muscles in the hands or legs or glands. Immediately the muscle in the hand you contracts and you withdraw your leg. In this way they help us. In this way sensation takes place in our body. Another example I'll give. When you touch a hot object, the stimulus here is a hot object. The skin is a sense organ. The skin will respond to the stimulus and send the information to the brain or spinal cord through nerve impulse. Then the brain or spinal cord provoke the response, and the response is carried to your muscles in your hand. The muscles contract and you withdraw your hand. This whole process is called sensation. The whole process is called sensation. Now let us discuss one by one. Today we are going to discuss one of the important sense organ, eye. Eye is very, very important. You all know about the importance of eye. Eye is an important sense organ which gathers the image. It is an image gathering device we see with our eyes. we see with your eyes, but actually we see with our brain. So many things happen how the vision takes place. So eye is a image gathering device, and eye is very important sense organ in our body. Let us see the external parts present in the eye. Eyebrows, eyelids, eyelashes. These are the three parts, are the external parts of the eye. Eyebrows will prevent us for the direct perspiration and direct sun rays falling into the eye. Eyelids will prevent the excess light to enter into body and also prevent the foreign particles, dust particles to enter into our body. Eyelashes have sebaceous glands at the base, and these sebaceous glands secrete sebum and lubricate the eyelashes. When you see the internal organs of eye, the eye look like a ball. We have two eyes located in eye sockets. When you touch the eye, you can see a bone below the eye and above the eye. That bone is called as eye socket. Eye look like a ball. First, when you observe the eye externally, we observe three important parts. The white part of the eye is called sclera. What we call it? Sclera. The white part of the eye is called sclera, and you can see a black part in the middle of the eye. That black part we call it as iris. Inside the black part of the eye, a small opening is present. That hole-like structure is present. That is called pupil. Sclera is the white part of the eye, and iris is the black part of the eye. And in the middle of the iris, there is a small hole called pupil. These are the three major parts. And coming to this iris is different. Iris exists in different colors. You have seen that iris may be brown in color, iris may be black in color, green in color, blue in color. You can see the iris of cat. Cat iris is greenish blue in color. And you have seen the people existing brown eyes, blue eyes, bluish green eyes. Iris will impact color to our eye. Now when we see the internal structure of eye, eye is covered with three membranes. The outer membrane is called sclera, middle membrane is called choroid, and the inner membrane is called retina. Our eye works just like a camera. And the inner part is called retina. Retina is an important part of eye where the images forms on retina. The first part of eye is called sclera. The outermost layer we call it as sclera. The sclera is continued or extended out in front of the eye as cornea. At the extended part of sclera we call it as cornea. Cornea is very transparent and it is an extension of sclera, very transparent part which allow the light to penetrate into the inner part of eye. So when sclera become opaque, you cannot have a clear vision, and there is need to transplant the corneal transplantation. Your vision become blurred and you cannot see the object clearly. There you need a corneal transplantation. Now this cornea have a outer protective covering called conjunctiva. What we call it is conjunctiva. The outer protective covering called conjunctiva. You heard that this is conjunctivitis, the red eye. This conjunctivitis is an infection to conjunctiva, the outer protective part of eye. Now the next layer is called choroid layer. This choroid layer consists of large number of blood vessels, and this choroid layer gives nourishment to the eye. Now coming to the behind this sclera, we have a lens which focus light on, which can focus the image on the inner part of eye called retina. And the lens divides the eye into two chambers. The chamber which is present in front of eye, we call it as aqueous chamber. What we call it? Aqueous chamber. The chamber which is present behind the eye, we call it as vitreous chamber. Behind the sclera, we come across lens. We come across lens. And lens, pupil, iris all are in the same straight line. And this lens divide the one behind the other. Divide the eye into two chambers. The chamber which is present in front of the lens, we call it as the aqueous chamber, and the chamber which is present behind the lens is called vitreous chamber. Aqueous chamber is filled with a watery like fluid called aqueous humor, and vitreous chamber is filled with a jelly or glassy like fluid called vitreous humor. Now this lens will focus the image onto the retina. But on the retina, we get inverted image. Now this inverted image is carried to brain through optic nerve. Brain will analyze the image, make it upright and send back to the retina. Now when you observe retina, retina is the innermost part of the eye, very important part of the eye where image is formed. So when you observe the retina, in one part of retina, there are large number of cones which are responsible for color vision, and that spot is called as yellow spot. And in the same retina, there are no rods and cones. I'll tell you, rods and cones are the receptors present in the eye which stimulate for light. Let us discuss about rods and cones. Now this retina, the image is formed on retina, and there is a place where there are no rods and cones. In that area, optic nerve is arises, and that area is called black spot. Black spot and yellow spot. Yellow spot means, before telling to black spot and yellow spot, let us discuss about rods and cones. So inside the retina, there are very specialized cells called receptor. Every sense organ is made up of receptors. The receptors that are present in the eye, we call them as photoreceptors. The photoreceptors are of two types, cones and rods. The cones, the shape of the receptor is like a cone. The upper part of the receptor shape is cone, so they are called as cones. And the shape of the receptor, upper part of receptor is like a rods, so they are called as rods. Cones and rods are responsible for vision of the objects. Cones are very active during bright light, and cones are responsible for color vision. And rods are active during dim night. See, when you see an object in sunlight, it looks very bright. When you see the object in the dim light, it looks very dull. Only the thing is, moonlight, during the dim light, rods play very major role, and they are responsible for black and white vision. And bright light, cones play a very major role, and they are responsible for color vision. And cones contain a pigment called iodopsin, and rods contain a pigment called rhodopsin. Iodopsin and rhodopsin. For the formation of iodopsin and rhodopsin, we need vitamin A. That's why when you want to keep your eyes very healthy, we have to take vitamin A. Vitamin A will stimulate the photoreceptors of rods and cones. Now these rods and cones are responsible for the vision of the eye. So on the retina A, where there are more number of cones, we call it as yellow spot. Where there are no cones and rods, we call it as black spot, where there is no vision. From the area of the black spot, a optic nerve arises. Now let us discuss about the defects in eye. There are two major defects in eye: myopia, hypermetropia. See, myopia means it's a defect where we can see only near object. We cannot see the far objects. This is called nearsightedness. Only near objects can be seen very clearly, and unable to focus the far objects. That defect is called myopia. And in the myopia, all the time, listen children, the image will form on retina. It is a perfect normal vision. In the case of myopia, the image is formed in front of retina. So that's why the person is unable to see the far object, and this defect is called as nearsightedness. And this defect can be corrected by using convex lens. Now coming to the another defect is hypermetropia. Hypermetropia or far-sightedness. In this case, the person can see the far objects clearly, but near objects are blurred and hazy. Such condition is called hypermetropia or far-sightedness. And this defect can be corrected by using convex lens. Okay children, thank you. We'll meet in the next session and we discuss about another sense organ.